Thank you and welcome for allowing me to give a testimony to Congress on the topic of the promotion of innovation. So I'd like to start today by explaining why we need to focus on innovation. So as we can see in this graph here, the first line right here is the demand for a certain product that the market produces through buyers and sellers. The second line we can see here is the demand that society would like to see, which is a total of all of the humans in a given area. As we can see here that the demand for society is actually higher than the demand for the market. And the reason this is because when we talk about things like, in this case, vaccines, even if I don't receive a vaccine, it is true that if other people around me receive them, I actually benefit from this. So therefore, the benefit to society is actually much higher than just the benefit of the people going to receive the vaccines and the people that supplied the vaccines. And we can see this as evident by right here. For instance, with vaccines, you can see the market's quantity of vaccines that it produces by just simply people going to receive vaccines and people supplying the vaccines. However, we can see right here that that is society's demand for the vaccines, which is actually much higher than what the market provides. So as you can see by this model by Rice University, we need to do something in order to move this line over here so that the market is producing what society wants. So in order to do this, we are going to look at three possible solutions for creating more innovation by the private sector. The first way will be to analyze the patent system. The second way will be to analyze government subsidies. And the third way will be to analyze the research and development tax credit. I have a lot of credibility on this issue because I have been studying economics for multiple years, and specifically the issue of innovation in the public sector for a couple months now. So as we move on to the first point, patents really are not the way to go. And there's a couple reasons behind this. To first off preface what a patent is, it is basically the immunity of a business to competition for 21 years. And the idea behind this is because we want the businesses to be able to recuperate the profits that they spent in the innovating process. But however, as you can see here, there are multiple problems with the patent system. First off, according to the Wall Street Journal, investors only receive a part of their innovation. It is estimated that the investor only receives a 1/3 to 1/2 of the actual money spent innovating. Secondly, technology sometimes moves too quickly. For instance, in the semiconductor industry, the rate that new semiconductors are produced is actually faster than the patent can be applied. So in this case, the patent is useless. Another one is that patents are sometimes awarded too easily. One of the most egregious examples of this was the company Xerox in the 1970s. In the span of a couple of years, they were able to receive over 1,700 patents just by simply making slight modifications to their design. And one other problem is that the patent length is very arbitrary. According to the United States Patent and Trademark Office, the patent has a fixed length of 21 years. And the reason this is a problem is because it doesn't account for the size of the firm, how much money they spent, how much money will it take to recuperate the profits, and you can see there are so many variables that are included. So let's look at a better solution: government subsidies. The reason why this is a better solution is because the funding goes directly to the businesses in question. And according to the New York Times, this actually encourages innovation in less researched areas. For instance, in areas like drug creation and medical devices that have such high innovation costs, it is actually beneficial that the government can just directly subsidize these businesses in order to make them innovate more and reach what society wants. However, there is some drawbacks to the system in that it is a political decision. A lot of times we want to try to keep politics out of these matters because we don't want 51 people voting for it and 49 people voting against it. Also, this tends to get into some kind of corruption with special interests because businesses will fund their congressmen in order to lobby for certain types of innovation. So this brings us to the last solution, which is the research and development tax credit, which is by far the best solution to this problem. The U.S. Treasury Department has said that the R&D tax credit is a cost-effective policy for stimulating additional private sector investment. And how this works is that for every tax dollar saved by the business, they will spend $1 in innovation. And as we can see by the United States Treasury Department, they have found that it is a nearly 1-to-1 ratio between public sector innovation and tax dollars that businesses save. Some studies by the Wall Street Journal have also concluded that the tax rate, or I should say the ratio of tax dollar saved by the business to dollar put into innovation, is somewhere between 2-to-1 and even 3-to-1 in some cases. So to summarize in conclusion, patents are good in theory, but they end up being bad in practice because of multiple reasons. Secondly, government subsidies are currently the most used system in our government today, but they have some problems because they've become political in nature. And lastly, the research and development tax credit is the best solution that we have at this time, and it also is the most cost-effective measure at being a 1-to-1 ratio. Innovation has made us the country that we are today, and with these solutions, it will continue to grow much into the future.